Electricast.
There are people out there all across the country pushing boundaries to grow the game of golf. Like champion speed golfer Lauren Cupp, who plays faster than anyone else. And Will Lowry, whose work in the golf community inspires more kids to get into the game. As a champion partner of the Masters, Bank of America supports everyone determined to find out what's possible. In golf and in life. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America. Bank of America N.A. member FDIC, copyright 2025, Bank of America Corporation, all rights reserved.
McDonald's meets the Minecraft universe with one of 6 collectibles and your choice of a Big Mac or 10-piece McNuggets with spicy Nether Flame sauce. Now available with a Minecraft movie meal.
At participating McDonald's for a limited time, a Minecraft movie only in theaters.
Welcome into Missing the Point. It is the NFL Power Ranking Show, brought to you and made by the real BK Bob Kelly, who I am joined here with. I am Michael Marcangelo. It's week 10. We got a lot to get to, Bobby, but just overall, your thoughts about the NFL going into or coming out of week 9. Obviously, Dennis Allen's fired from the Saints, a couple big trades. What stuck out the most to you?
So if we're talking about the trades that stuck out, I think Marshon and Lattimore going to the Commanders is a big deal. You know, shoring up a secondary of a team that, you know, if there is one thing that they struggle at, it is defense. And then Zadarius Smith to the Lions was a big deal, you know, replacing Hutchinson. As far as the overall landscape of the league right now, I just think there's a lot. And it's very top heavy and top bottom and very bottom heavy at the same exact time.
There's no middle.
There really isn't. There's like 3 or 4 teams that are right in the middle, but everyone is either really shitty or really good.
Right. It's like every team besides the Chiefs is either like 6-2 or 7-2, and the rest are either 2-6 and 3-5. That's it. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts in between. What'd you make of Dennis Allen getting fired, though? I mean, I do remember we were on this show. I was a guest, as always. I love being on the Power Rankings. After week 2. When you were talking about how the Saints had scored on every single drive, and now they've lost 7 games in a row.
Well, Dennis has kind of been a lame duck coach for a while. I feel like he's been the one, you know, besides, you know, I know I had him in the power rankings for 2 weeks, but besides that little blip on the radar, I feel like this has been a long time coming. I feel like one of us had him as first coach fired, didn't we? I'm pretty sure.
You know, I'm not petty by any means, right? Like we can agree on that, but I'm pretty sure if I had the option to pick a first coach being fired every year on the show with you, I'm just going to defer to the Cowboys head coach. So I don't think I had Dennis Allen. I don't think I did, but that is wild. I mean, you're right. He feels like a lame duck coach ever since Sean Payton left. Although he's been with the organization for like 8 years at this point. And I don't know if you listen to for all those out there, if you guys listen to the show Ray and I did earlier this week, the wild thing about the Saints, they're $74 million over the cap for next year already. So they're going to be bad for a while.
No, it's not looking great. Yeah, it's not looking great in New Orleans.
No, they're going to be bad for a while. Do you think Mike Williams to Pittsburgh? I mean, they definitely needed some wide receiver help, but is that something that moves the needle at all for you? Or do you think it'll move the needle for them, especially with the way Russ is playing?
I mean, it gives them another weapon. They've been looking for a wide receiver for a while, so I mean, it does something. But Mike Williams hasn't been Mike Williams in a couple of years now. I mean, ever since the ACL injury, so
Yeah.
it does a little bit, not much, but it does a little. I think the big moves were definitely Zadarius and Lattimore, and obviously DeAndre to Kansas City. I mean, that happened a week before, but he was the big prize, I think. Overall.
That move took literally a week to show, like to show the fruits of it. I mean, his first week there, he was quiet, and all of a sudden he goes, what was that? 80 yards and 2 touchdowns against Tampa Bay. Yeah. Stupid. Like that's the D-Hop that we all know. Were you surprised that Max Crosby was not traded to the Lions? Because I thought in my mind, I was like, they're going to do that because then when Hutchinson comes back, if they make it to the Super Bowl, imagine that D-line.
Yeah, I mean, Max Crosby would have been a hell of a trade. I don't think the Raiders would have given him up, though. I feel like that's more on the Raiders than on the Lions.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know why they're going to hold on to him, but whatever. All right, cross-offs. So we've crossed off, you and DK have crossed off the 2-7 Jags, the 2-7 Panthers, the 2-7 Raiders, the 2-7 Browns. And this has been on the list for the entirety of the season that I've been on the show. My, not yours, my New England Patriots lose to the Tennessee Titans, those Titans of Tennessee, 20-17 in overtime, that high-powered Tennessee offense. Can we finally, Bobby, I'm begging actually, can we please cross them off now? Please?
I think it's time. I think it's time. I mean, Drake May looks pretty good. I'm not going to lie. I do like Drake May. The end of the game decisions are what stand out to me. You know what I mean? Like, yes, there's still struggles every single game, but the offense looks better than it did with Jacoby. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look great. It just looks better. And he's been able to do some things at the ends of the games that I like. So I do like Drake May a little bit, but yeah, I think it's time to cross him off.
Yeah, listen, I mean, it looks like it has the makings to potentially one day be an NFL offense. And this isn't his fault, but 2-7, you're losing to really bad teams. You get the Bears coming up. We'll talk a little bit about that later. But thank God, let's cross them off. Let's move on to next year. I mean, they got nothing left to play for except for a high draft pick that hopefully, I mean, I don't know how you feel about this, but when you have a team that isn't designed to win anything and has a rookie quarterback or a younger offense, doesn't it make sense to you to try and get the highest pick possible? They don't need a quarterback. They don't need Travis Hunter. So if you wind up with a 1 or 2 overall pick, you get to trade that down for Campbell from LSU, unless he's hurt. Isn't that the smart move?
Yeah. You got to collect as many assets as possible if you're the Patriots at this point.
Right.
So yeah, I couldn't agree more.
We're also going to cross off those very Titans from Tennessee. They beat the Patriots. Yippee! Who has it this year? Mason Rudolph. I mean, enough said, right? If he's your starting quarterback, you're probably going to be crossed off before, right around the mid-season mark. The Saints. Sorry to see you go, Dennis Allen. Sorry to see you go. All right, so the Giants. They're teetering. They're 2-7. I don't know why they're not crossed off, but I'm just the advocate here. I'm just the communicator of this list. The Commanders just beat them. They had the Panthers next. And again, it's the Panthers versus the Giants in Germany. So they're still paying reparations for what happened 75 years ago. Right? That is our curse to them.
So I'm going to sleep in on Sunday is the moral of the story there.
Right.
I don't know why they're not crossed off. I feel like the Giants are they're in that same group. They're in that 2-7 little jumble there, fighting for that first pick. So right. I feel like we can cross the Giants off. It's time. It's time.
Oh, a little executive decision. I like that. I believe you once said Speaker of the House, Dick. So let's do that right now. We're going to cross off the 2-7 New York Giants. That brings us to the 3-6 Jets. They somehow beat the Texans on Thursday Night Football last week. So they're 3-6.
8 sacks.
I know. But, okay, so here's what I want you to do. Make the argument for me, or to me, to not cross them off.
I mean, I don't know what the rest of the schedule looks like for them, but they have Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, and the defense looks like something that, we imagine that they would be. I feel like the schedule is pretty tough. I don't know exactly what it is. Jesus.
So
I don't know exactly what it.
Are you sure that you're not going to cross them off because they have Aaron Rodgers? I mean, didn't Aaron Rodgers get them into this situation? Right? I mean, he's been healthy all year, and their offense looks exactly the same as it did with Zach Wilson.
If not worse.
Some might say worse, yeah. And their defense looked good. I mean, I know you're trying. I know you're trying to be positive. I just gave that to you. But like you said, their defense looked good. But are you sure that the Texans O-line just didn't fall asleep? Like, what the hell happened?
Yeah, I don't know. The Texans O-line looks like paper. We'll get to that later. At this point, I feel like the Jets are in this middle ground where it's like we can't keep up on them quite yet because of what they have and because of the talent that quote unquote that they have, loaded up in back burner. It's getting there. It's getting there. I feel like this week we'll learn a lot more. I don't know exactly who they play, but we'll learn a lot more about them this week. You know what I mean? The,
Yeah.
the Texans on a short week. I feel like that was a really bad game for the Texans. I feel like that had more to do with the Texans than it did with the
So
Jets.
they have the Cardinals next. That's a sneaky tough matchup.
Ooh. Okay.
I mean, you could argue that if they beat the Cardinals, then they obviously deserve to not be crossed off for one more week. But if they fall to 3-7, that's a little too much to come back from. No.
Yeah, 3-7 is tough. Especially in an AFC where 5-4 is looking like right now. You know what I mean? That's where that playoff line is right now. So
Yeah.
already having seven losses is going to be tough to come back from.
Yeah. No, I agree. All right, so we won't cross them off, but now just relax. That brings us to the Dallas Cowboys, 3-5. Dak is on IR. They beat. They just got beat by the Falcons. But I guess the most memorable thing from that game was not any play that happened on the field. It was the sideline camera catching Dak Prescott saying, "We fucking suck." So here you go.
We do.
You do. It's bad. It's bad.
We do. There's no. It's just when you don't address anything in the off season, there's no. It shouldn't be a surprise to you when you come into the season and the two obvious, most obvious and blatant things that we're missing coming into the season are your two biggest downsides. You have your rushing game and your rush defense. There's both 31st in the NFL. And that was so obvious coming into the year that we needed interior men on defense and we needed a running back. And you didn't address either of those things. And it's just, it's, I don't know what else to say except, there's no surprise to me that this team is as bad as they are this year.
I'm glad that you mentioned that because I want to give you a chance to do a public do-over because 8 weeks ago on these very airwaves, when you were picking the NFC team, I told you, I begged you, I'm not even on your team. I still have that much respect for you and respect for the institution of our season prediction show that says, Bobby, you should not pick them to win more than 9 games. And you looked me dead in the eye and said they won 12 last year. Give me 13 this year.
Hey, that preseason, that Cowboys optimism never fails, but it's this year just seems to be a little different, man. I don't see that, you know what I mean, November swing that we usually get coming this year, unless Cooper Rush can do something because Dak's out for 4 games. So, you know what I mean? It's just add salt on top of the wounds.
Are you surprised that Cooper be your quarterback and not Trey?
No, Trey Lance sucks. There's a preseason game.
But
there was a preseason game where his game had to get 5 interceptions in 3 quarters. So it's not the Trey Lance show. So
no, how do you also feel about giving up was it a 3rd or a 4th round pick for Mingo from the Carolina Panthers?
Yeah, and the Chiefs gave up a 5th round pick for DeAndre Hopkins. So it makes sense.
And how much did you give up to get Amari Cooper out? Yeah,
a 5th round pick.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. So you're just saying that Mingo is just better than those 2 guys. That's what Jerry Jones is saying. Is it time for Jerry to check himself into one of those homes and just call it a fucking season?
I don't know, man. He does that goddamn radio show every week where he gives up too much information about his personnel decisions. Like literally every single week, he's giving up more information that he shouldn't be giving up. He's lost his mind. He's lost it.
So are we Listen, I'll defer to you. They're your team. You know where I stand. Are we crossing them off, or are we going to wait one more week to see?
We'll wait another week, but it's looking pretty grim. It's looking pretty grim. We're playing the Eagles this week, so not looking good.
Not the
Not
best.
looking good. I think it's the Eagles, and then the Texans or something like that. We have a really tough schedule coming.
And you have the Commanders twice, right? You haven't played them yet.
No, we haven't played the Commanders yet.
That's good. Well, they're not a bad team at all. So that'll be fun to watch. That brings us to DK Sizzles Bears. DK, we miss you. They had a bad loss to the Cardinals. It actually looked like that the Chicago Bears coaching staff forgot that they were an NFL coaching staff. They were making awful decisions, but they play the Patriots next. So what do we think about that loss, like I said, to the Cardinals? And is this season at all salvageable? Or because he's not here, we can actually just ask this question and get a real answer. Did we just have too high of expectations, or did people have too high of expectations for the Bears? And being potentially 5-4 after 10 weeks isn't that bad.
I feel like this is exactly where I kind of expected them to be. When they got off to that 4-2 start, I feel like DK just got a little high on his horse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And got a little excited, which I don't blame him for, because it was the Caleb Williams show.
Doesn't happen on this show.
When coming into the season, it would be a good season for the Bears if they were playing meaningful games in this. At this point, it seems like they have a chance to do that. We're only 4 weeks away from December, and the Bears are 4-4, possibly 5-4, right on the cusp of a playoff spot in the NFC. So, you know what I mean? We're still a month away from December, but we're playing meaningful games, and we're halfway through the season. So it's better than it was for the past few years, but at the same time, Eberflus is looking pretty lame duckish. Yeah, he's not looking too great.
And I mean, I guess I understand why DK is so upset, because to go after the Patriots game. So they play the Patriots this coming week, right? We'll talk about that. But it's Patriots, Packers, Vikings, Lions, 49ers, Vikings, Lions, Seahawks, Packers. That's the remainder of their schedule.
So they literally don't have another easy game for the rest of the season after this.
Nope. So I understand why DK is upset. Like you theoretically you had to be 7-2 in order to win, in his mind, 9 games or 10 games of the season, because this is a fucking gauntlet now. Like they are going into the meat of their schedule, and it's not good. I mean, I hope to be surprised, because I really do believe in Caleb Williams. I think unequivocally he's the best quarterback that the Chicago Bears have ever had. Most talent. Let's see if he can realize that talent. But do you expect them to be 5-4 after this week, right, against the Patriots? There's really no way they're going to lose.
If they lose this game, Eberflus is fired. I think that's a 100%. If they lose this game, he's fired.
You think they would do that? You think they'd fire him at 4-5?
Yeah. I mean, that's the word on the. I've heard reports that that's the word on the street. If they lose to the Pats, he's gone. I would. If you're trying to be a playoff team, you can't lose this game to the Patriots. You can't lose this game. You got to win this game.
I mean, just how the mighty have fallen. We are now the team that if you lose to, your head coach gets fired. Like that's how bad the Patriots are this year. It's awful.
So it's you're on the Panthers level. That's where you're at.
That must have felt good to say. You've been waiting to do that.
It did. Yeah, it did.
Good for you.
It felt good.
Yeah, good for you. Cleanse your soul, dude. All right. Honorable mentions. The Denver Broncos, I mean, obviously they got stomped by the Ravens last week. They're playing the Chiefs next. So that's a big game for them, right? Obviously, I don't see them winning that game, but what did you think about the game against the Ravens? They lost that game 41-10, But honestly, I didn't think they played awful. They were just didn't it feel like they were just outgunned?
Yeah, they were outgunned from the beginning of that game. The Broncos are one of those teams where I feel like we're not gonna know who they are until later in the season because when they play teams like the Ravens, they're gonna get their asses handed to them, but they're gonna beat the teams that they should beat. So we're
Yeah,
never actually gonna know if they're gonna be off this honorable mentions or not. You
right.
know what I mean? I do like Bo Nix though. I'm a big Bo Nix fan.
What do you like
I
about him?
don't know why. I just like his moxie. I like what he's got.
His
You know
moxie.
what I mean? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what it is about him. He reminds me of Taysom Hill, but a little bit better and actually plays quarterback.
I mean, okay, so let's just go into this right now because we need to talk about this. You like Bo Nix. Bo Nix this year has 1,700 yards passing, 8 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and has 4 rushing touchdowns. So he's accounted for 12 touchdowns and 6 picks. I, are you sure he's better than Taysom Hill?
Yeah, he's he's Taysom Hill. He that's why Sean Payton likes him so much. If you think about it, he runs the same type of offense that he
Yeah,
did in New Orleans,
no, I see
right?
the comparison. I just are you prepared to really say that he's better than Taysom Hill?
Yes, yeah. At quarterback, yes, yes, he is.
So you like Bo Nix? Do you like the Broncos?
Um, I think that they have a chance. They no, I don't like them to make the playoffs, but I think that they're very underrated, and I think that they're about a year. They're a year away from being an actual contender.
Yeah, I mean, so their upcoming schedule, they could be a cross off here really quickly. Chiefs, Falcons, Raiders, Browns, Colts, Chargers, Bengals, Chiefs. So
So
theoretically,
they have a little bit of a break there in the middle, though.
but you and I both expect them, when we do the show in 2 weeks to be 5-6 instead of 5-4, going into their week against the Raiders and the Browns. So I mean, then if they lose one of those games, they got to be out, right? We'd have to start talking about cross them off. But listen, I the reason why I asked you about Bo Nix is because you've said that now I think 3 times that I've been on the show. I never understood why you like them, but the Taysom Hill comparison makes sense to me. I just don't know if I think he's a better quarterback than Taysom Hill. I don't. And I haven't seen anything to prove it. But to your point, I haven't seen anything to really disprove that theory. Moving on to the next honorable mention, those Arizona Cardinals. They really beat the shit out of the Bears. Sorry, Dave. And then they got the Jets next, and then it's a pretty big, a pretty good schedule. But again, from the Cardinals standpoint, because we already talked about the Bears, what do you think about their 29-9 showing against the Bears?
I like the Cardinals. They're so frisky. They're a lot like the Broncos to me, where it's like we're we're in this middle ground with the Cardinals, where we talked about earlier how there's like a bunch of 2-7 teams, a bunch of 7-2 teams, and no one in the middle except for these two teams.
Right.
I just think we're gonna when we see them beat the Jets next, we're gonna see a 6-4 Cardinals team that's ahead in first in the NFC West.
Okay,
In
so
first in the NFC West.
so let's go with that. You won't cross off the Jets now until they lose their 7th game because of the talent that they have. But you just said that the Cardinals are going to beat the Jets next. So we should have just crossed off the Jets, right? You've already given them 7 losses. But I digress.
Yeah, we can't do it yet. We can't do it
What
yet.
what do you think is going on with Marvin Harrison? Like he had a couple of standout games, but has he been rattled since the concussion?
He just seems like he's a little. He seems hyper. Either had a touchdown or he gets hurt every single time.
You kind of broke up there, but I'm not sure if that was me. I heard like every third word, but I thought did you say he's hyper and he either has a catch with no touchdowns or a catch with 3 touchdowns? Is that what you said?
No, no. I said I feel like he's kind of made of paper.
Oh,
Eh, He either finishes the game with 3 touchdowns or he finishes the game in the blue tent.
yeah,
But at this point, he's their best weapon. So, you know, if they have a chance, Marshon Jr. needs to stay.
yeah, yeah, 100%. All right, honorable mention again: the 4-5 Cincinnati Bengals. They beat obviously the Raiders, so that we're not going to move them up to the power rankings or move them off off the honorable mention for that. But they got the Ravens this week, so I guess you and I and everyone at MTP, we always talk about how slow they start. Is it possible that this year they started too slow and now they're 1-4 at home? They're 4-5 overall. Like, do you think that they have it in them to make that deep run, or not? I guess I'm curious to hear your take on that.
I sound like a broken record, but we're gonna know when they play the Ravens. You know what I mean? We can see them. We can see them beating up on the bad Raiders. 5 touchdowns from Joe Burrow. But if you can't beat the good teams in the AFC, then what does that really matter? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like if they lose this game and drop to 4-6 in an AFC where teams are fighting for that last playoff spot, like we said, right around that 500 mark, 5-4 Broncos, 4-4 Colts, 4-6 is going to be tough to get into the playoffs if you drop into 4-6.
Yeah.
Um, but we'll see, man. We'll
They
see.
got
I feel like if they can beat the Ravens, it's a big show, a big show
they
up.
they got a couple. Their next 3 games are tough. It's at Baltimore, at LA Chargers, and then they're home against the Steelers. So, I mean, just based off of such slow start that they gave themselves, they have to go 2-1 in those 3 weeks. And ideally for them, you'd prefer those 2 wins to be against the divisional opponents, right? Because that's what's going to matter towards the end of the year. That's what's really going to help them if they can progress. But they lost last time to the Ravens. Was it 41-38? So this,
Yeah, it was a great game.
they do have, that's the thing that pisses me off about them so much, is because like you see those moments where, okay, it's still Joe Burrow, it's still Jamar Chase, it's still T Higgins, and then they lose. They just start so slow. I don't really understand it. Obviously, what would it take for you hypothetically to cross them off? They're 4-5 now, so is like the 7 or 8 loss, is that it for you for a team like them?
You think all 3 of those games, I feel like they're in the cross-off territory. You know what I mean? If they
fair.
don't win any of those games.
All right, how about the Colts? They lost to the Vikings, and they're playing the Bills next. That game against the Vikings, it kind of just looked like Joe Flacco was outgunned. They're still kind of reeling from the Anthony Richardson debacle, and I just think the Vikings are a really good team. But
Well, when he decided to tap out of the game,
it's just
it was the
2
most
times.
unbelievable thing I've ever seen in my life. It was the most unbelievable thing I've ever seen.
Like, dude, read the fucking room. People are already questioning
Yeah,
whether
you can't do that.
whether you should be a starting quarterback in this league because your completion percentage is fucking terrible. 2 times in your first 2 years. And then, I guess the most damning part of it, though, has to be the most damning part of it, is he tapped himself out of the game, and the very next play was a handoff. You couldn't have done that. Like, you could not have handed the
Yeah,
ball
you
off.
couldn't have handled it.
What are we
And
doing?
then when they ask him, and then they ask him about it, and he doesn't lie about it.
He
That's the
told
thing
him the
too. Is
fucking
like,
truth.
you know what I mean? Like, yeah, he told the truth. I was tired.
Like, just take a page out of Belichick's
Yeah,
book and
just
say,
a
we're
lot.
on to Minnesota. You don't say, I was tired.
Yeah,
I kind of
it
hate
was
the
bad.
Colts. I kind of hate them.
They're just boring. They're just a boring football team, and I feel like They turned to Flacco too late. If they had turned to Flacco a week or two early, I feel like they would have been a little bit better.
Yeah.
Which was not something I thought I was going to be saying in 2024. I have to say that.
No, I mean, you're right. But he's like, it's so weird to think of him as like a dying breed of quarterbacks because he is just a pocket passer with a fucking rocket of an arm. He flicks that wrist and the ball still goes 40 yards down the field. But he's 40 years old. All right. So the Rams, they beat the Seahawks and their skill players. I mean, so Cooper Kupp is back. He was healthy. Puka Nacua, had to throw a punch, so he was out. Kyron Williams had a terrible game. But they, like I said, they beat the Seahawks. They got the Dolphins next at 4-4. I guess, how good are you feeling about them, or how surprised are you by the Rams? Because based on the injuries, dude, like you and I have teams that would have folded. Actually, we already have folded, and they're 4-4.
It's kind of surprising. This team was written off. They were literally shopping Cooper Kupp 2 weeks ago, and now all of a sudden they're in second place, a game back of the Cardinals for first place. I feel like if there's a team in this middle ground that's going to make a run, it's the Rams because they have the guys to do it. Like we said, they have guys that have been there before. They have Stafford, and that's probably one of the best pieces that you need is the quarterback who's been there before. He's literally won a Super Bowl. So you give him the pieces and put them around him in a division that's right now, what is it? 5-4, 4-5, 4-4, and 4-4. So they're right there. You know what I mean? So if there's a team that's going to make a run, it's them.
Yeah, and like I said, it's their net based on all the injuries that they had. But that's just a credit to Sean McVay. And now it looks like Matt Stafford is cooking again. You get Nacua, you get Cooper Kupp back healthy, hopefully for a little while, and then you're good to go. Next in that division are the Seattle Seahawks. They've fallen fast, weren't they? Were they 3-0 or 2-0? I think they were 3-0.
They're 3-0. Yeah.
So they're 1-5 in their last 6 games. They lost to the Rams. It kind of looks like they're spiraling. They're in last place in the NFC West. They're not long for this honorable mentions list anymore. I think one more loss and we can officially say if you go 1-6 in 7 games, you don't deserve to be on an honorable mention, right?
No, agreed. And if they lose, who do they have next?
That's a great question, Bobby. I think I can just pull this up here. I wonder if they're so the Seahawks. I think they're on a bye.
Oh, okay.
So they can't lose.
I mean, that's fair. Yeah, if you drop them 1-6, I can't believe that they've fallen as far as they have. They have really good skill positions. Jackson Smith and DK Metcalf. It really just, I feel like it all comes down to Geno Smith and what he does. Without a proven quarterback in that division, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, I mean, Geno Smith is Geno Smithing. So this is what happens. I mean, he's had give him credit, 2 good years, but I think a quarterback like him needs a steady veteran head coach, and they kind of lost that with Pete Carroll being gone, right? So,
Agreed.
I don't know what else to say about them. Chargers, I like them, but I find their brand of football boring now because they made sure to gut all of the skill players around Justin Herbert. They solidified the offensive line, and now it's just a run game. J.K. Dobbins. So they beat up on the Browns. They made Jameis Winston look just like who we know Jameis Winston is. And Harbaugh is here. So are we going to see a world where they're in the power rankings at the top 10? They're 5-3 now.
I mean, they're right there. If they keep on the same path that they're going, absolutely. The Chargers are the team that they in the AFC West. They got to beat up the teams that they have to beat. You know what I mean? If they keep beating up teams like the Browns, they keep beating up teams like they should, they're going to be right there at that. So 100% they could be in power rankings soon.
I do think that there's a possibility of that, especially after they play the Titans this week. But then Their schedule after this week: Bengals, Ravens, Falcons, Chiefs, Bucks, Broncos.
Ooh, it's tough. It's tough. So we're gonna find out what Chargers got coming up. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
the Niners 4-4 bye week, and we should have CMC coming back, right? They're playing the Bucks this coming week. I don't think McCaffrey's going to play this week. I think he'll probably wait until week 11. But if they walk in there and they beat the Bucks, I mean, then they're 5-4. Then you're getting healthy again. Could you see a world where they make a run?
Absolutely. It's the Niners. It's funny that after the season from hell that we thought they were having, right now all of a sudden they're looking like they're going to get healthy again. I know Ayuk is out, but you get CMC back into that offense. That's going to make a huge difference.
Yeah,
You get CMC back. That's a big addition
yeah.
coming in the middle of a season that looked lost. It looked lost. I thought they were done.
All right, so that leads us to them playing the Bucks, who just lost to the Chiefs. The Bucks fall to 4-5. Obviously, Godwin out, Mike Evans out for the next couple of weeks. Like their skill positions are, I mean, just absolutely depleted. 4-6 if they lose to the 49ers, 5-5 if they win. What do you think's more likely for them going into this week? Are they going to be in a 4-6 team?
I mean, it's a tough stretch right there. Chiefs and then Niners back to back. Said they were healthy because I think that they have one of the better skill positions, one of the best skill positions in the NFL when they're healthy,
Yep.
especially, with Evans and Godwin. Mayfield looks really good right now, I have to say. I wish that he had those wide receivers because even without him, he looked good on Monday night. I would say 4-6 is more likely, but I wouldn't be surprised if they pulled it out. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Yeah, their offense is so riddled with injuries that we all now know who Cade Otton is. I mean, you didn't know that name three 3 weeks ago, right? But that's their tight end. That's the only guy that they have to throw to. And Sterling Shepard's making ridiculous catches as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. But yeah, I feel bad for the Bucks. I do like Baker Mayfield too. I haven't loved him since his Tom Brady comments, only because I didn't think it made him look like a pussy. But
It was just unnecessary.
yeah, it's like, they just needed to learn how to have fun again. They didn't have fun with Tom. Are you so winning Super Bowl's not having fun? Idiot. It's just a stupid
Yeah, it
comment.
was just you didn't need to do it. Yeah, you didn't need to do it.
All right.
There's people that there's people that you go after, and Tom Brady is just not one of them. You know what I mean? It's just not a smart thing to do.
Well, if you want to go after him about like crypto, sure, right? Like everything, leaving your pregnant girlfriend, also you can do that too. But I probably wouldn't go after him about winning. Like that's just the one thing.
Yeah.
So the last team on honorable mentions, and I assume this is why they're not in the top 10, are the Green Bay Packers. They're 6-3. They lost a tough game to the Detroit Lions, 24-14. Jordan Love had a bad game, but he was hurt. He played through that injury. So what do you think about this team? Because I am really high on Jordan Love and on the Packers. I just think he's having a weird year where he's getting hurt a lot, and I can't put my finger on why. Well, besides the slip and slide that he played on in Brazil, but talk to me about that game and why you left them off the power rankings.
Well, they're definitely number 11 on this list. But they're a product of everyone else above them winning. You know what I mean? They were right on the cusp, and everyone above them won, and they lost a tough game against the Lions. I like Jordan Love. I just don't know if he's as good as everyone says he is. I've said that from the beginning.
You don't think he has the moxie that someone like a Bo Nix has? Is that what I'm hearing?
Don't come after my Bo Nix. No, I just don't know if the Packers have what it takes to win that NFC North. And it was a tough game. Tough game on Sunday.
Okay. That leads us into the top 10 power rankings, what you're all here for. This has been what? Is this our fourth season now of you doing this? Fourth straight year? Number 10. We have the Atlanta Falcons. They're 6-3. They finally, thank Christ, are finally on this list. It only took them having to beat your boys, the Dallas Cowboys, to get on there. And as we just discussed, they probably just ended the Cowboys season. Talk to me about having like your number 9, number 10. I could easily see Falcons being 9, Texans being 10 based off that loss. So walk me through this decision making process here.
So I just had the Falcons finally making it because of that skill position, and they really made the Cowboys look bad. They made the Cowboys look really bad in that game. Kirk Cousins is finally looking good. He looks like the Cousins of old for 4 or 5 weeks in a row now. There was that 1 week where he was under center, where they wouldn't put him under center, and it seemed like, you know what I mean, it wasn't working out. And then finally has the offense rolling. So that's why they're finally at number 10. The Texans, I couldn't drop them all the way down to 10. You know what I mean? I couldn't fathom having the Falcons ahead of them, especially after how high we were on them all season.
Yeah.
The Texans have one bad loss. One bad loss. I don't think that makes, you know what I mean? I don't think that drops them all the way down to 10. Not quite yet.
Sure. But, I mean, I know that the list is fluid. It can change just based on what we just saw. I know that, like, we talked a little bit about that. The loss this week or this past last week makes us think that they're not the team that we think that they were, right? Is it that, or is it that they're just not good enough to sustain losing Stephon Diggs? They lost 2 offensive linemen, a defensive lineman, and oh god, why is that other stud wide receiver slipping my memory?
Nico Collins.
Yeah, so you lose Diggs, you lose Nico Collins, you lose the starting defensive end and offensive lineman. Isn't that enough to knock any team down a couple pegs?
It is. I just thought CJ Stroud was enough to keep him afloat. I really did. I thought he was good enough to keep him afloat, but that was a tough loss. It was a tough loss.
Well, he's still young. I think right now, right, he's good enough to keep them afloat when you don't have eyes on him and when you have no expectations. But if you think that he's the next, the second coming of Christ, and they're going to be the top team in the AFC, then you're going to be disappointed. Number 8, your favorite NFC East team, those Eagles from Philadelphia. Talk to me about where were you and what were you doing when you saw Saquon Barkley turn his back to a defender and hurdle him?
That was the most unbelievable move I've seen. I could. He's something else, man. No, the only thing that's holding him back is Nick Sirianni. He really is. I can't believe I'm about to say this. I love the Eagles this year. Jalen Hurts is playing out of his mind. AJ Brown's playing out of his mind. Devontae Smith's playing out of his mind. Saquon's playing out of his mind. The defense looks really good. The Eagles are a team to reckon with in the NFC. They really are. Especially when you have Saquon doing the things he was doing. The Eagles were good the last 2 years without Saquon. And then you add Saquon Barkley to this team, and it's unbelievable.
I mean, the spin, and then when I saw him turn his back, and I'm like, it looks like he's gonna jump. But I've never seen a running back or any offensive player jump backwards over somebody. Like, that was one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. It was I could not believe it. So the Eagles are at 8. Okay, so the Vikings. The Vikings are at 7. The Steelers are at 6. Talk to me about why you think the Steelers are better than the Vikings. I know they had a bye week, but the Vikings, they won. And I guess in a matchup, who do you think would win, the Steelers or the Vikings right now?
Because of the defense, I would take the Steelers, but it would be a great game. It would be a great defensive battle. I just think the Steelers have more talent on defense. The Vikings have the scheme and they have the coaches, but the Steelers have the talent on defense. So I would take the Steelers in that matchup. Plus Russ over.
No, you don't mean that. No,
Darnold.
I was just about to say, don't you think Sam Darnold is going to win Comeback Player of the Year this year? Because I do.
It's very possible. Very possible.
Let's just do a brief exercise here, Roberto. So you love Bo Nix, right? I read you his stats. Now, I'm not comparing them, but let's just compare them. Sam Darnold has 1,900 passing yards, 17 touchdowns, 7 picks. And oh, by the way, he wasn't supposed to be the starter this year, and they lost. He lost. Did he lose Justin Jefferson for, was it 1 or 2, a game and a half, and T.J. Hawkinson for 6 games, and they're still 6-2. Come on, you can't possibly like Russell Wilson more than him.
All right.
Yet
maybe
you
not.
do.
Maybe not. Maybe you're right.
And yet
No,
you do.
maybe you're right. No, maybe you're right. No, maybe you're right. I feel like when it comes to Russ, it's
sentimental.
that it is sentimental. If that deep ball is working, then Russ is on there. Is the thing.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. So I have a bone to pick with you. All right, so not to spoil the 3 and 4 teams, but you have the Commanders here at number 5. They're 7-2. They won again, and they have a better record than the Bills and the Ravens. I can see the Ravens. Right, fine. And the Ravens beat the Commanders, right? Or did the Commanders? I forget. But you think the Bills are better than the Commanders? Like, in your heart of hearts, do you actually believe that?
Yes, are more well-rounded than the Commanders. I know that they have the better record, but if you look at the work Bills have, I'll take the Bills over the Commanders right now. Plus Josh Allen over Jaden Daniels. And it always comes down to the quarterbacks. When push comes to shove, it always comes down to the quarterback. So yes, I would take the Bills over the Commanders.
All right, so the Commanders are playing the Steelers next. Who do you have in that game?
Ooh, that's gonna be a good one. Probably the Steelers. I think it's gonna be a tough game for Jaden Daniels against that defense. He's had a tough couple weeks. They did have a tough time against the Giants. So I'm gonna go with Steelers.
Steelers. All right, so we have the Commanders at 5, the Ravens at 4, the Bills at 3 after they beat a healed up Dolphins team at home. They got the Colts next. So. We have the Lions at number 2. Obviously, we know who's number 1. Is there any scenario, aside from the Chiefs losing every game or losing Patrick Mahomes, which I thought that was going to happen? I thought when I saw him start limping, were you watching the Chiefs game? Yeah, the Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
When that non-contact injury.
It looked bad.
So we can't
especially non-contact when it comes to quarterback. Yeah. It didn't look good.
So let's just do this fun exercise. We have the top 4 teams right now. So let's just say that again, because there are 3 from the AFC in here. You have the 3 and 4 team playing. So that's the Bills and the Ravens. Who wins that game?
I would go with the Ravens right now. It'd be tough, but the Ravens look unbelievable. That offense, man, with Derrick Henry, he looks unbelievable right now. Would you pick Lamar for MVP right now?
I picked Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry, okay.
Wouldn't you?
Yeah, it's looking like that right now. It's one of the two, that's for sure.
Yeah. All right. So you would pick the Ravens over the Bills if that was a semifinal round. Okay, now number 1 seed Kansas City Chiefs or the number 2 seed the Detroit Lions. Who do you pick in that game?
It's a tough matchup. I think the Lions right now are looking like they could possibly be number 1. They look. Do you think they look better than the Chiefs? As a rounded football team?
Well, if DeAndre Hopkins plays every game like he played on Monday Night Football, I think it's hard to say that the Chiefs would lose to anybody, right? Because the biggest knock has been that their skill position, but now they could have a number 1 wide receiver. Travis Kelce is still Travis Kelce, and Pacheco is coming back. Kareem Hunt looks really good, and they have the best defense in the league.
Okay, that's fair. This is coming back too. Man, they beat they beat teams up. I think right now, I think it's very, very obvious that those are the two best teams in football now. Very, very obvious that everyone else is playing catch up with the Lions and Chiefs. And no matter how many times we do these power rankings, the Chiefs always end up number one. No matter what we do, the Chiefs are number one.
But by the end of the year, the last 4 years they've been number one. So it's at least you're consistent. You just had them up there from the get go. So the power rankings this week, week 10, we have the Chiefs at number 1. We have the Lions at number 2, the Bills at number 3, the Ravens at number 4, Commanders at number 5, Steelers at 6, Vikings at 7, Eagles at 8, Texans at 9, and finally the Atlanta Falcons have come back to the power rankings. So we did it again. I hope I was an adequate fill-in for DK. Is there anything you want to go over, Bobby, before we hit the fucking road?
No, that's it. Let's see if the Cowboys get their asses crossed off this week. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm really happy to report that the Patriots finally did. So for the real BK, Bob Kelly, this is Michael Marcangelo saying thank you so much for listening to MTP and the Power Rankings, and we'll talk to you next week.
Hi, I'm Sherilyn Fenn from Twin Peaks. What did you do on your last Saturday night?
Did you hear something?
Toilet paper.
There's none. Nada. The reserves have gone dry. People are hoarding it. I should have done that.
They're all out of hand sanitizer at my Target.
Mark, when did you last watch the news?
We are getting reports of forced quarantines in China, Japan, and now Italy.
You're cutting onions in half and putting them around your apartment.
Yes, exactly. It kills the COVID.
Excuse me?
Let's go. Let's go. Get in.
Vamos, rápido.
Have you ever driven one of these?
Never.
I'll drive, ladies.
I've got the keys.
Excuse me, I'm lost. I'm looking for my wife. I got turned around.
Join me, Eric Roberts, Jennifer Elise Cox, and Ed Asner for The Last Saturday Night, an Electrocast podcast. You'll love it.
Electrocast. Electrocast.